Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. I'm YouTube famous now. So funny when people comment on my videos and they're like, you are not YouTube famous. And I'm like, do you think I don't know that? If there's anybody that's famous, he doesn't want to be on camera. It's Phoebe. Anyway, you guys, I wanted to make this video. Okay, so last night I was looking through YouTube, following down the rabbit hole of YouTube, which you guys know is a lot of what my channel is about, watching all these different YouTubers. And I noticed this thing that John Green from the Vlogbrothers put up, and I have been a 10-year fan of the Vlogbrothers. I think I might have actually, he was talking on there that like their first year, they only had like 200 subscribers. I actually think I may have been one of the very first 200 subscribers to the Vlogbrothers. I have been such a huge fan of theirs for years. If you follow my booktube channel, Peter Likes Books, you guys know I am a huge, huge fan of John Green. I've read all of his stuff. I love all of his stuff and anxiously awaiting his next novel. Please, John, come on. So anyway, I was watching, scrolling through my subscriptions last night, and he made a community poll, or a community notice where he said something about, if you're unsubscribing to us, please fill out this survey. And so it was interesting to me because they must have gotten a lot of people that have been unsubscribing to them lately. I don't know. But I went in and I hadn't watched a lot of their videos lately. And so John did a video a couple weeks ago called Why I Vlog. I think it was a couple weeks ago. Called Why I Vlog. And I thought, that's a really interesting topic for a video because a lot of people ask me that. They're like, you have so many channels. I have 4 channels, and I'm thinking about doing 5 or 6 more. So anyway, no. They're like, you have so many channels. What is it about it? What is it you do? Like my friends in real life and my family, they totally don't understand this gig of YouTube. They don't understand it. They're like, you talk about all these people as if they're celebrities. I'm like, they totally are celebrities to me. I love them all, the people I talk about. I'm totally infatuated with watching their videos. I fall down the rabbit hole every night. I fall asleep with these people with my earphones on. My husband could care less about these YouTubers and who they are. It's like he doesn't have any clue who they are. It's just not on his radar whatsoever. It's not of his interest. And so I find myself attracted to people, and as far as friends, who love YouTube and love the discussions. But what's interesting is that I'm all over the board with who I love on YouTube, I mean, I love the whole booktube community, obviously, but then I like the beauty community, I like the vegan community, I like the weight loss videos, I like the drama channels like Philip DeFranco and Leafy and those guys and Scarce. I mean, even though there's a lot of drama with them, I still watch their videos. I watch Trisha Paytas, I watch Shane Dawson, I watch Joey Graceffa, I watch Glozell Green, I watch Tyler Oakley, I watch, Todrick Hall. I mean, I watch so many people, all the way down to there are lots and lots and lots of smaller YouTubers that I watch that I absolutely adore that have just 200 or 300 subscribers, right? And I watch religiously every video they put out. And that's what's so cool for me is that on YouTube, everybody can find a place, everybody can find a voice, and you don't have to be this huge YouTuber to do that, right? And I think that was what was so attractive to me when I began this thing, was that I never thought oh, I'll even get 1,000 subscribers. I really didn't. And I actually remember, I started my booktube channel, Peter Likes Books, in May 11th of 2016. And I remember when I hit 1,000 subscribers, and my graduating class from high school was 670. And I was like, this is crazy that there are more people that watch my videos than I graduated from high school with. And I actually talked about that in a video. I did a whole video about it. And how it meant such huge acceptance to me on some level that I was okay and the world was you're not a bad person, and and I had real issues when I was in high school and junior high and being gay and being bullied. And so then to get on a public forum where people were they didn't care about that, right? And sure, people hate watched me and people trolled my videos, but at the same time there was so much mass love and acceptance that I was to somebody out there I matter, even if I've never met them, and I'm making them laugh and they're watching my life. And that is such just a cool thing, it's so cool to be part of that. And I'm so happy that I started the booktube channel. But let's go back before that, because one of the things I loved about John's video was that he talked kind of about the history of how he got into vlogging. I've known about YouTube for a very, very long time. In fact, my husband and I own another channel. We don't really do anything with it anymore. But I had started my channel Peter Monn and never done anything with it. Years ago, I posted videos where I was like driving around in a car, I would talk for 45 minutes and it would get like 160 views. And what's really interesting is through those videos, I made some very, very long-lasting friendships, okay, of people that saw me as like a celebrity on YouTube because I was getting 160 views. That's crazy, okay? And one person in particular, Devin, he knows who he is, we have become like lifelong friends. He lives in Canada, I live in Indianapolis in the middle of the United States. We've never met, but we talk on a regular basis. And that's all just from that small ass channel that I had way back in the day. So before that, I have been, like blogging for years. I, have been a counselor in private practice for years and years and years. And so I started a blog called Thoughts from the Couch. It's still up there. I actually started a blog the year that my mom passed away, and it was called Suicide Birds and Seahorses. You can search it up. It's still up there. Some of my favorite writing I've ever done. And I started that blog, and then I started, and it was really just like I would drive around at night, just grieving, not really knowing how to deal with things. And I would talk about like people that I ran into at the gas station. And it was like when I go back and I read those blog posts, they're so like raw and vulnerable. And like I would just take pictures of like gas station coffee, and then it would be called something, or like how I had like fallen down the rabbit hole of watching Oprah Winfrey reruns and stuff like that. And it was just very much like where I was at that moment. And it was so cathartic. But what happened was that when I met my husband that August, he kind of started to fill my emotional needs, I thought. So I stopped blogging. And then 6 months later, I started another blog called Thoughts from the Couch. And the whole intention of that was that lessons that I would learn in my practice through my clients, I would write about, at their permission, obviously, and talk about like, wow, I really learned that like life is short or whatever. And every entry I would end with, and we're on borrowed time as it is, because my mother used to always say that. Like every time I would see her, she'd say, baby, don't forget, we're on borrowed time. Do what you want to do now. Make your life matter. And that blog that lasted for several years, and I actually got quite a following on that. And that blog turned into one called Peterisms, which ended up turning into my blog called Peter Monn, which I haven't blogged on in like forever because I started my YouTube channel. And it's hard to keep up all that stuff, but I really love the writing. And as a result of writing on that blog, I was actually asked by somebody that I knew to write about how my husband and I were affected by the ban on gay marriage or same-sex marriage in Indiana. And I wrote this blog called Dear Annie, and how my marriage is affected in Indiana by the ban on gay marriage or same-sex marriage. And that blog post ended up appearing on the Huffington Post. They asked me if they could put it on there. It was featured on the Huffington Post. And I got like, in one day, I think I got something like million. I mean, it was ridiculous. It went viral. Not on the Huffington Post, but on my blog, it went viral. And I got tons of people reaching out to me and saying, thank you for this. Thank you so much. And I just kind of sat back and I was like, okay. And it opened a door to me working with a publisher and getting my book published. And I'm a real believer that there's a connectedness in the world about how we are all connected together. And all these things are supposed to happen together. And so I had met her previously, but then she was like, okay, so I started this boutique publishing house. I want you to be one of the first authors I work with. So I did, and I wrote that book. And then as a result of it, I was trying to market that book, and I started watching booktubers, okay? I never in a million years thought I would start a YouTube channel. Never. If you had told me 10 years ago you'll have a YouTube channel that you put on daily, I would have been like, you're crazy, let alone 4, right? So I started watching booktubers, and I watched people that I fell in love with, like Christine at Pole and Banana Books, and Natasha Tashopoulos, and Jesse the Reader, and Benjamin of Tomes. And if you don't follow booktube channels, you won't know who these people are, but they're huge in the booktube community. And Ariel Bassett, and these kinds of people. And I fell in love with them, and I was like, I want to do this. And so one night, my beard is absolutely driving me crazy, you guys. Part of being a YouTuber, you just get honest on camera. It's 10 times easier. People are like, why are you like sniffling at your nose? And I'm like, I didn't trim my beard up here. I just trimmed it down here, and it's driving me nuts. But anyway. So one day, my husband is he gets so upset when I start projects and I don't finish them, because he's very much like idea, project, completion. And I'm dream a little dream. I'm a big dreamer, right? So anyway, one night, I was like, I'm gonna start a booktube channel. So the next day he went to work, and I literally like started that day, started the Twitter, I did it all, right? I was like, put up my first video, didn't tell him about it. And it's so funny if you go back and watch that video, because and I'm like, hi, I'm Peter, and I don't really know what's gonna happen with this. I'm so uncomfortable on camera, it's so funny, and I've really grown a lot and loved being in front of the camera and loved sharing my life with you. But what happened was that as a result of that, I wanted to do something with my Peter Monn channel. And so I started doing these videos where I just talked about just BS. You know, I talked about things that were affecting me on a daily basis. I actually talked about like the Alton Sterling thing that happened, and why are we still dealing with like this tragedy in our country, and why can't we be more loving and compassionate to each other? I talked about being older and being gay and how that's hard in, you know, the gay community somewhat. And I talked about, you know, like just how I wanted to like vlog a year of my life for me to remember it, but I wasn't doing that. And that had been my intention originally. One night I posted a video, and I watched all of these drama channel videos, and I just like fell down this rabbit hole. And I just started watching them, and I got on camera and I started talking about them, just like totally unedited, like this is what I think and this is what happened. And I fell in love with it, and like people thought it was funny. They were like, that's like the most unedited I've ever been. And people were like, oh my God, you're funny. And yet again, it felt like acceptance. It felt wonderful, right? And so I just kept it up. And what I realized was the more videos that I did, the more comfortable I got with myself. It never originated out of this idea that I would do it on a daily basis. I did say early on, I said I would love, I would love for this to be my full-time gig, for me to be able to pay all my bills with YouTube and do this on a daily basis. I mean, I still to this day would love that. I would love it so much, right? And I just think that YouTube is such an amazing place. I mean, there's a lot of ugliness to it, but once you get past the ugliness, it's just such an amazing place to actually turn on a camera, upload it to your computer or from your phone or whatever, and then later people like see it and respond, and you're like in people's homes, like, or in their cars while they're listening to you, and whether they love you or hate you, you're like evoking some kind of emotion. It's like, it's so cool, you know? And that people are listening to you and they're responding, and you're having conversations with people in the comment sections and through social media. And it's just the coolest thing in the whole world. So that went on, and then in 2017, I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I had always wanted to do a daily vlog, but I had my booktube channel. I had started a weight loss channel, which is not doing real well. But anyway, because I haven't stuck to it. And then I had my main channel, Peter Monn, which is funny because my main channel has always been Peter Likes Books, okay, my booktube channel. So in January 1st, I started daily vlogging on a new channel called Peter Vlogs. And I really was like, I don't know that I can keep this up for a year, but it has been 15 days, and I have like legit kept up with this every day. It's like one of the favorite channels that I'm posting on now. I'm vlogging every day of my life. Some days it's real exciting and it's a half an hour. Some days it's 10 minutes and it's real boring, but like I have a history of what's going on, and like, you know, we were sitting around with my cousin and some friends the other day, going through pictures when after my aunt passed away and all this kind of stuff. And like I videoed all of that, and my husband and I it's so many cool memories that I want to be able to look back on. And I really believe to some extent that vlogging your daily life is really like scrapbooking for the future. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it's really a cool way to be able, it's like a living journal, if that makes sense. At least for me, because I get on here and I don't bullshit. I just tell it how it is. I tell what's going on with my life because I want to be able to look back and be honest about that. And I was actually talking to somebody about this earlier today. One of the things that's happened, and I think this probably happens with any YouTuber, is when I originally got on camera and started doing this, it was never once for the subscribers count. It was never once for the views on videos. It was never once for any kind of money I was going to make or not make on there, because I can tell you on most of my channels, I don't make shit. So anyway, it was never about that. It was never about having somebody stop you on the street and be like, oh my God, are you Peter? And that happens more for me from my booktube channel than any other channel. So, but it was never about that, right? Like it was always just about making videos and having so much fun with it. And I think to some degree what happened was I started intellectualizing the process and thinking, well, if I make these videos, if I make those videos, what happens, blah, 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 blah. And then like, oh, I have to do this because then people will like it or they won't like it or whatever. And I really think if you're going to vlog, which I encourage everybody to do, don't go into it for the subscribers. Don't go into it for the views. When that thought comes into your head, push it away and say, no, I'm doing this for me. This is for me an art form. This is entertainment for me to look back on. This is enjoyment for me because I want to have this in my life. I love doing this so much. I love making these videos. If 5 people notice it, that is awesome, okay? Like, I mean, if 20 people notice it, that's awesome. Eventually, somebody will notice your videos, all right? If you immediately put up videos and you have 100,000 subscribers overnight, great for you. I mean, that's awesome, right? I mean, I can't imagine if tomorrow I would get 30,000 subscribers overnight. It would feel incredible. And I think that, like, that's the whole thing. But I wish I had never, ever crossed that point where I started thinking about it as a business, because it's the art of putting videos together and talking about them unedited for me that I love so much. I love sharing my life. I love talking about my life, and I love learning from your lives. It's such a magical thing for me. It's such a magical place. I'm absolutely obsessed and addicted to YouTube. I love it. I love finding out about new YouTubers. I love going out and seeing what their gig is and following their lives and all that kind of stuff. And really for me, it all started years ago when I watched Will and RJ at Shep 689, and I will link their channel below if you've never heard of them, but they were the ones for me that did daily vlogging, literally daily vlogging. And that's kind of on my new channel who I aspire to be a little bit like and show my life unedited. And there are such nice guys. They are so sweet. And it's just the coolest thing in the whole world. I don't really know how to explain it. It's like if you opened your door and allowed people to come in and say, this is just who I am, and you sat down, you know? And it's interesting because I was just watching the documentary of Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds called Bright Lights the other night. And Carrie Fisher, like on camera, not in movies, but just on camera for the documentary, is just so relaxed, and she's herself totally. And I thought, that's who I want to be. That's who I aspire to be. To not give a shit, to be kind, caring, compassionate, and to share my life with the world so that hopefully somebody might laugh or smile or tear up or enjoy it. That's why I vlog. I love you guys so much. Follow me on all my social media. I'm real interactive, and I will talk to you later. Bye.